This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 161. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and working experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 activities a week. Ow! Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop probably came out with the best looking Stormcast Eternals, a couple of little fellows from the Necromundas, an incredibly confusing Chaos Space Marine detachment, and I finished some painting. But first, have you ever found yourself in need of a website to call your own, but you just don't know where to start? Well, today's sponsor, Squarespace, can help with that. Squarespace allows anyone to break into website design with easy-to-use features like the new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace sure makes it easy to launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimized SEO tools so you can show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. Squarespace's system allows you to stretch your creativity through tools like the drag and drop feature so you can really freestyle your way to the website of your dreams, or your own online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier with Squarespace's seamless checkout tools. With the Squarespace website, your customers can use whatever payment system they prefer, whether it's credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Selling your unique wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and when you're ready to dive in headfirst, you can go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I want to go over the cool stuff first before I get mad about Chaos Space Marines. The Ruination Chambers open. The Reclusians are the most battle-hardened Stormcast Eternals yet. These guys look cool. Stormcast have steadily been working their way to cool over the last 6 years. But these guys, especially in like the dark, gritty silver, it's almost like a gunmetal silver. These guys actually look really cool. And I love their little friends, their little helpers, their servitors, if you will, that are just spooky fellas walking beside them. These guys are really, really cool. Like if Stormcast are so weird. And it is such kind of a bad taste in the mouth thing that half the Stormcast range is going away. The old stuff that doesn't quite look good, but doesn't quite look that different from the new stuff. They've just kind of tightened it up a little bit. It's very, very odd, but I like the idea of grim, dark Stormcast Eternals just to help them get a little bit closer to Space Marines. But they look good. I really like them. I have a bunch of the Thunderstruck Stormcast from the Dominion box from Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, so the 4th edition Age of Sigmar guys look like they're going to be even cooler. They look very, very like chaplain-y. Like these guys would look really good kit bashed and converted into Space Marine chaplains. I really like them. I like the idea, especially it all started with Yundrasta, where every single time she dies, she loses like a little bit of herself, and it becomes a tragedy of like she's kind of losing her mind, but she doesn't want to stop fighting the forces of Nagash and the forces of evil. And so these guys are kind of in the same boat where they're slowly losing themselves over time, but they keep on fighting because it's the right thing to do, kind of. It's very interesting. I would like the Stormcast Eternal to become a little bit more of a spooky army or a weird army. I feel like, especially with the Cities of Sigmar kind of becoming a real faction, not just whatever was left over from Warhammer Fantasy Battles, I feel like Stormcast could take on the role of like angelic protectors, or just more out there, more weird, more like a good reflection of Nagash's ghost armies. I am here for it. I think these guys look really cool. Can't wait to see what else comes in the box. Yeah, I really like these guys. And their axes look halfway proportional. Some Stormcast models, their weapons are like hilariously too big, where these look Warhammer appropriate. Like they're probably twice as big as they should be, not 3 or 4 times as big as they should be. I think the only thing that I'm not 100% stoked on is the shields. It's a classic Stormcast Eternal shield, but I don't know, it's fine. I feel like a slightly simpler shield would be better. Maybe it's just the Sigmar star without the weird Cthulhu Sigmar face in the middle, and then without the edge trim. Something a little bit simpler. Maybe if it was just a magic shield. Like if they were just had a a weird like fiery thing in their hand that was the shield. Angelic light is the shield. Something like that, I think, would have made him a little bit more interesting than just a very busy shield. But speaking of very cool guys, Necromunda got a pair of cool guys. These guys are fun. They're just, what even are they? It pays to have a few favors to call in and perhaps a friend or two in high places. You'll need the Fixer and the Proxy. So I guess they're higher up in the echelons of Necromunda's households. I really like the guy with the ruffles. The more you look at him, the more things you find to appreciate. His stick, his bionic leg, his ruffles, his bionic arm, his cowardly lion mane of hair, his cyborg eye. There's just a little tube running into his nose there's something going in there. Yeah, he's really fun. The other guy, kind of just a guy, a little Vin Diesel-like, like just a fella walking by. He's got his duffel bag, he's heading to the gym. Yeah, I do like, does his bionic arm not have a thumb? It kind of looks like he's just got 2 fingers and that's it. Maybe he only needs 2 fingers. Maybe he can do a lot with a little, but both these guys are fine. I really like Necromunda. Like every single Necromunda model I look at it, I'm like, that would be fun to paint and just have. And the game of Necromunda is really fun because you kind of can just have anything because you hire crew members. So you can hire and then outfit your guys however you want. There's definitely a little bit of like list building involved where it's like maybe you don't want to make one Necromunda ganger to like 1,500 points. You can, but you probably shouldn't. But these guys are really fun. I would say both of these would work really, really well in Warhammer 40,000 as inquisitorial agents. Maybe even the ruffle guy could be an inquisitor if with just a little bit. He needs a dick tabber to be an inquisitor, but other than that, I think he's pretty solid. Yeah, these guys, Necromunda, it looks so much fun. I need to work on my Necromunda. I bought a ton of stuff for House Escher, and it's all been languishing because I have so many games I'm working on right now. But man, Necromunda is a really cool looking game. And speaking of really cool looking games, Warhammer 40,000 10th edition is doing pretty darn well. It's probably my favorite edition of Warhammer 40k yet. But we got a weird thing for the Chaos Space Marines. I have been hypothesizing that we are going to get Chaos Space Marines Codex Emperor's Children this year. There hasn't been that much for 40k. There's been a little bit, some really cool Dark Angels units. It was really cool to see Kroot make a comeback. But other than that, every single codex has literally just been one new lieutenant or one new captain. I guess Chaos Space Marine got 2 new captains, but just a single individual monopose HQ unit is not that exciting. It doesn't flim my flams, it doesn't jimmy my jams. It doesn't make me super excited to buy, definitely not to pick up these giant battle forces. Like the Battle Force Dark Angels was really cool because you got all of those new Terminators, you got the new Terminator upgrade frame so that you could have the Plasma Blaster on your Terminators. That was a really cool box. But everything else has just been like a whole bunch of orcs and that one new guy, a whole bunch of Custodes and that one new guy. It's not that exciting. But so I was thinking maybe they're kind of ramping down the 40k unit factory so that they can come out with Codex Emperor's Children and a bunch of new units to Warhammer 40,000. There's so much cool stuff for the Emperor's Children. They've never ever gotten the attention they deserve. They've still got the incredibly ancient, they used to be white metal, now they're resin Noise Marine upgrade bits, which is just 5 identical guns made of the crunchiest resin you've ever seen that will fit on like the old 4th and 5th edition plastic Chaos Space Marines, but I have no idea if they'll fit on the current modern plastic Chaos Space Marines. They've really been languishing. I think Lucius the Eternal is still a squishy little fine cast model. Fabulous Bill is just a regular guy for Chaos Space Marine, but he should be Emperor's Children specific. The Emperor's Children have got nothing. They've got nothing forever. So I thought maybe Games Workshop's finally gonna do it. We've got Nurgle, we've got Khorne, we've got Tzeentch. Only thing we need left is Slaanesh. And so I was thinking we're definitely this year, maybe next year at the latest, they're definitely going to drop a big old new faction on us, Emperor's Children. And then we got a Warhammer Community article. Play the Chosen of Slaanesh in Chaos Space Marine armies with Index Emperor's Children. Index Emperor's Children. So they are moving to be their own faction, which is fine. I guess this means that Games Workshop's going to be able to make a new drop-down menu that is Emperor's Children. But looking through this article, it's literally nothing. It's incredibly confusing. I mean, usually when you get your own index, you get your own detachments, you get your own stratagems, you get some of your own unique like unit compositions and data sheets, but they have this really, really weird paragraph right in the middle. They still have the Dark Pact army rule that you know and love, which is the basic Chaos Space Marine rule from the index. And besides needing to pick the Slaanesh keyword for anything that gets the choice, like Demon Princes, you're free to use whatever you'd like from the big buffet of units and detachments that is Codex Chaos Space Marines. You'll be able to use whatever you want from units and detachments from the Codex Chaos Space Marines. That's how indexes and codexes work. Like historically in the index, you get your army rule and detachment, and then in the detachment you get your stratagems. But if Emperor's Children is just, I don't even get what is this index if it's not just a reprinting of all of Codex Chaos Space Marines, and then at the top it just says, always pick Slaanesh. It seems like that's all there is. I don't get what this means. And then hopefully Games Workshop isn't too clever with how they put this out there, and so we're all just going to get essentially free 99% complete Codex Chaos Space Marines as a free PDF from the Games Workshop web store. Or is it going to be an index where tons of stuff are missing and it just says like, see, or it basically says see Codex Chaos Space Marine, which means go buy a copy of Codex Chaos Space Marines. I don't get what this index is going to be. And we're not even going to get interesting like Emperor's Children stratagems, because this is tied into Codex Chaos Space Marine detachments, which are going to have their own attached stratagems. So I don't get what makes this an Emperor's Children army. It's bizarre. We're not getting new Noise Marine sculpts, so you're still going to have to buy the old Finecast and make it work with the modern Chaos Space Marines. Old Lucius the Eternal. Noise Marines are an interesting unit for Chaos Space Marines. The regular Legionaries are interesting in that they have okay guns and they can definitely take a ton of special equipment, but their actual ability is that they get to reroll ones in combat. They get to reroll ones in combat for the wound roll, and if they're standing on an objective, they get to reroll the wound roll. Not bad, but their close combat weapon is called Close Combat Weapon. It's the worst one, so you probably don't want to get into close combat that often. The Noise Marines are a little bit more interesting for 85 points. They get the Sonic Gun, which is interesting. It's a bolter that gets +1 shot and assault. So you can run and gun with it. No AP, but strength 5. So you're wounding Space Marine equivalents on 3s. They're gonna save a lot of those shots that you send their way, but it is probably a little bit better than just Chaos Space Marines with bolters. And then you've got some interesting stuff like one heavy flamer on the Chaos Champion and the Mega Sonic Gun that's just on one other regular Space Marine. So it's not a bad little unit for 85 points. The actual ability of the unit isn't that good though. It's if you shoot something after you've shot at it, they take a battle shock test. There's something to it. There's a lot of make a unit take a battle shock test in Warhammer 40,000, but usually it's not worth like picking different targets. Like if I'm like, I would really like to shoot this, but I need that to fail a battle shock test. You shoot the thing and then they just make their battle shock test every single time. It probably would have been better just to shoot at the thing that you should be shooting at. So that's kind of a lame ability. Hopefully, if we get anything new out of this new Emperor's Children detachment, it's just gonna be a new data cards for Lucius the Eternal and for Noise Marines, but I don't know, I'm not holding my breath. It's definitely disappointing that it seems like we are not getting a Codex Emperor's Children and new models, and it is very disappointing that they're not even getting their own detachment and stratagems. Like, detachment and stratagems is what gives an army its flavor. And so if you're just picking whatever from Codex Chaos Space Marines, but bringing a Slaaneshi Demon Prince, I guess it's an Emperor's Children army, but it doesn't feel Emperor's Children. And I really love the last line of the article, where Games Workshop sort of anti-teases that a codex is coming. You might think that this heralds the imminent announcement of a new codex, perhaps one bound in human skin and painted in garish colors. But if so, it is too distant for even Warhammer Community astropathic choir to detect any signals. And we get a stern talking to from the Inquisition for even trying. We can only assume we're safe for the foreseeable future, but if that changes, we'll let you know. That is a lot of words to explain very, very little. I feel like you could read that like, oh, our astropaths are checking the waves, but it does seem like they're just saying, no, there is no Emperor's Children Codex. It's not coming. It's not happening. There are no plans. So, Emperor's Children. I like Slaanesh. I like the Emperor's Children. I don't know if I would I kind of like the good guys in 40k are basically everything but chaos. I like the Death Guard a lot. The Death Guard, though, they don't feel like chaos because Nurgle's a good guy. You know, he likes to share his plague and he likes to share his garden. He's a farmer. Like, he's just a down-to-earth good guy as opposed to the other Chaos Space Marines who are like evil incarnate. But I could do some Emperor's Children, especially with a lot of Slaaneshi demons. But yeah, it does not look like it is happening at all, which I wonder, like, what is coming for 40k? Are we gonna get a bunch? I know Genestealer Cult is hot on the horizon, and so is Sisters of Battle. I'm guessing we can look forward to a really cool captain or lieutenant for each of those factions. But man, they don't need them. Like, they really don't. I think for Genestealer Cult, they have so many HQ characters already. I can't imagine another one showing up and being really good in game. And same for Sisters of Battle, like we already have Canoness, we already have the characters that we need. Some units would be good. Or if they just wanted to make me really happy, let me take Paragon Warsuits. Right now, they're capped at a squad of 3, the number that comes in the box, but let me take a squad of 6, let me double it. Games Workshop, I can take a squad of 6 Centurion Devastators. It would be the hammer of my army, I would attach Morven Vol, it would be so cool. If anything happens with Codex Sisters of Battle, I really, really want to have more fun with the Paragon Warsuits. Maybe even a Paragon Warsuit focused attachment. Please, please, pretty please with Sugar on Top Games Workshop. It'd be really cool. But yeah, I don't know. 10th edition has been really, really fun to play, but it hasn't been a terribly interesting edition in terms of releases. I guess maybe the most interesting thing was the Scatros for the Adeptus Mechanicus, the stilt boy that I think left us all scratching our heads. I don't know. But you know what I do know? I got a little bit of painting done this week. I have steadily been working on my 40k armies, and I've actually been making really good progress on my Genestealer Cult, on my Drukhari, and on my Death Guard. And so I think I'm gonna have like 3 new playable armies this year. And I finished the Reductus Saboteur, the bomb guy for the Genestealer Cult. She's like 95% done. The only thing left to do is to dry brush the base and pick out these little dynamites that I kit bashed. I really like her. I painted some hot rod flames on her cape to make her stand out a little bit more. I think using on my HQ choices, I want to use a lot of yellow and a lot of red so that they stand out really intensely from the rest of my army. But yeah, the Genestealer Cult and all of their weird little piddly HQ choices, I really want to see how they play on the tabletop, because it seems like you buy a little something for every single squad in your army. If you're running something naked, you're really not getting the most out of them. So all of these little HQ choices are really, really interesting. And it's very different from the armies I play, like Necrons, Space Marines. Orcs, you do use a fair amount of characters, but not like every single squad. And not for piddly little guardsman squads like Genestealer Cult. So I'm really interested to see just how it works. And of course, you don't get to do Cult Ambush on your HQ choices, but you get to do Cult Ambush on everything else. So it's going to be, I feel like Genestealer Cult is going to be one of those armies where when it's really cooking and you're getting lucky and you're making all of your like resurrection rolls, it's going to be really, really cool. In some games, it's literally going to be like, I can't stop rolling ones. Nothing is coming back, and the game ends very, very quickly. But the Reductor Saboteur, what she is, she's a lone operative, and she gets the demolition charges that hit on 2 ups. So literally, she is like just blow something up. That's her only job in the game, is to sneak around, staying 12 inches away from everything so that she can't get shot at, and then boom. She also has indirect grenades, which is kind of interesting. So if there's like a guardsman squad on the other side of a building, I could just lob grenades, and that's kind of fun. Ooh, I believe she also gets free grenade strat. So if you spend a CP on her, like if you manage to get her into just the right position during a game, and you spend a CP on her to give her grenades, she could indirect fire grenades, play the grenade strat, demo charge, and after that, I feel like you count her as gone. Like, she's done her duty. She is ready to go. Like, I'm really excited to play with this unit. It's one little 32mm base model, and it's got so much power, but not really. Like, if anything looks at her, she's gone. But it'd be really fun to Overwatch her and just be like, let me get a 6 on demo charges. Let me get a 6 on demo charges just to try. But it would not be worth it. Overwatch stratagem is probably my least favorite stratagem in 10th edition. It kind of feels bad when I do it. It feels bad when other people do it to me. It's not a bad idea to use like I feel like it's the perfect place for it where it feels right is like when a guardsman squad is flanking you or a unit is flanking like your home field objective that you've got a unit stood on, and you Overwatch to use like a couple of flamethrower shots on that squad just to try to keep them at bay or make them lose enough models so they don't have enough objective control to get you off of that home field objective. But what usually ends up happening is it's like an entire squad with heavy flamers or something crazy torrent weapon that they plan on using this stratagem over and over and over again. It's a bummer. But yeah, I try never to use it. It's also, I never get 6s. When I need the 6s, I never, ever get 6s. So I feel like that stratagem is just not worth it. But you know it's always worth it. That's right, our Patreon. Over there, we have a new terrain set every single month, and this month we have the Mining Colony, Terrain, and Vehicles. Utilitarian machines that are more than they appear. Designed to ride across the landscape firing stolen weapons or tunneling underneath to lay traps. And the mining containers make for thematic and useful terrain. The colony is ready to uprise. And if you always want to be up to date on what's happening here at EonsOfBattle and be entered into our monthly giveaways, this month we're picking 3 followers to receive this month's terrain. You can follow the link in the description to sign up to our newsletter. A really fun week in Warhammer, and that's kind of not all the news. One more really big thing happened this week, and it involves the Custodes. But I'm still doing a little bit more research and kind of finalizing my thoughts, so stay tuned for that video, but it's gonna be really, really spicy. Thanks for watching.